Was good. Santi back with another video. Man, you see I'm still on the journey, man. As they say, you see the glow. And I wanted to title this video Semen Retention, Unbothered. You feel me? Man, I was listening to a song from Omarion's recent project called Connection. And it's spelled Kinection. And one song on there that I really appreciate is one entitled Unbothered. You know, he's pretty much talking about in that song, you know, how a woman put him through hell. You know what I'm saying? And he was blinded by his feelings for her, right? And he couldn't see it. And he got to a point where he was like, he says in the song, you gave me hell. Oh well, I still wish you well. You know, think about how much strength and how much growth it takes to get to a point to be able to let someone go and forgive someone that could have literally destroyed your life. Think about the power in being able to walk away from someone that you have built a deep soul tie to, and they have pretty much become the basis for your whole life. You've given years and years to this person. And then having to change your mind and change your perspective and ultimately rebuild your foundation, because when someone, some people become so blinded and so disconnected, and then when they realize that this person has broken their trust, like this person cheats on them, such as, crimes of passion. It's no different than a person believing in something for so long and then realizing that it's a lie. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's a reason why I appreciate that song. As I talk about in previous videos, I touch on my past experiences in a particular relationship that I had back in 2010. Well, it ended in the end of 2010, and it was a narcissistic relationship. And when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, that experience with that person is not a typical relationship. It's a narcissistic relationship. And if you don't know what narcissism is, you got to be aware of it, because a narcissist can literally destroy you as a person. They can literally destroy your identity and your perspective of the world. And most people who end up being in a relationship, a long-term relationship with a narcissist, and then they become aware of what's happening on the energetic level, and then they realize what they put themselves in, the position that they put themselves in, and how this particular person was siphoning their energy, taking who they were and essentially creating themselves from that person's identity. Like when you think about a person that's a succubus, narcissists are like shapeshifters. They'll become whoever they feel they need to be in that moment just to gain your appeasement. You know what I'm saying? But what I went through was such a traumatic experience. Some people never recover from that. Some people, they'll take their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll commit suicide because of just how stressful and how how difficult it is to carry that weight, and literally have someone else become or control your identity. You know what I'm saying? And so, when I went through my relationship, when I went through my experience and I had my breakup and stuff, it wasn't easy. Like by any means, it wasn't easy. I didn't have a therapist. I didn't have no type of religion whatsoever could give me comfort accept, and it wasn't a band-aid, and it wasn't you know, something to a form of escapism. But I had been exposed to Buddhism back when I was 17, like this was like 2007, 2008, right? And I started studying Zen Buddhist philosophy, right? And my understanding of Taoism came along later. But when I started studying Taoism and started studying energy, I recognized what I already knew, what I was already aware of, just being an advanced soul and being someone who does have a high level of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? So when you deal with when you come out of a narcissistic relationship, you can't go back to who you were before. Your whole perspective on life changes. You know what I'm saying? You literally experience a death in the body when you go through a narcissistic relationship. So how you navigate and how you engage with the world is different. Like you literally have to restructure yourself, restructure your lifestyle, restructure your identity, you know, and you have to build a stronger self. And coming through a narcissistic relationship, it makes you aware of a power that you have that is hidden in your own darkness. You know, coming out of a narcissistic relationship, they develop addictions. You know what I'm saying? They can develop depression and PTSD and anxiety, and even have develop mental disorders themselves. You know what I'm saying? And so with my ex, she broke up with me, and I went through that simp stage and shit. You know what I'm saying? While I was chasing after her, trying to get her back and shit like that. But that's natural. You know what I'm saying? That's natural. And I was younger then. I was unaware of what I was doing, yet still conscious of how I was acting in those given moments. And as the cycle of the breakup went through, I went through from me finally stepping away, and then with me stepping away, her trying to come back, and her doing things when I was still vulnerable that end up stifling my healing process, right? But she broke up with me and wouldn't let me go. And I checked her, like I let her have it, because I'm like, first of all, you disrespected me as a man, and then you try to force a friendship because you are narcissistic, and I'm the first one out of all your exes and all the guys that you dealt with who didn't want to have any type of relationship with you whatsoever. And then you try to flip the script and be like, well, what about all the memories we had, and what about all this and that? But when I was fighting for the relationship, none of that mattered to you. None of that mattered to you then. You know what I'm saying? So it's a bunch of mind games. You know what I'm saying? And they'll sit there and do things to try to keep you close and keep you thinking that they feel a different way about you. They'll pretend to care and all of this and that. You know what I'm saying? But essentially, they're draining your life force. They're trying to control you. You know what I'm saying? They get their sense of identity from the attention and the affection and the validation that they get from their supply. It's called a narcissistic supply. You know what I'm saying? So when I listen to this song, about Marion and him getting to that point and getting to that place, and one of the things that he says in this song, he's like, "You're jaded." Like I'm not out here pointing, trying to paint myself to be the victim, but my ex was jaded. I mean, she wasn't ugly at all. You know what I'm saying? Light skin. She was Filipino, but her father was black. But she was so jaded, and she had a conflicted identity too. It goes deep. She was adopted and all of this and that. But, it's like I got to a point where, I no longer, all of the things that I once valued in that relationship as I went along, once I saw her for who she was, the attraction was gone. You know what I'm saying? And people would jokingly be like, man, look, what if she wanted to have sex with you? What if she hit you up and she wanted to hang out? And y'all was like, nah, bro. Nah. Like, once I saw her for who she was, the attraction on every level went down. Granted, I did have periods where I would get nostalgic because I did have first times with her. You know what I'm saying? But me getting to a point where once that relationship ended and I had to cut her off, and that was a hard decision. That was a hard decision. And I watched my homies, not necessarily saying that they were with narcissists. They weren't with narcissists. They were just with women who were just lost, who just were still trying to find themselves and whatever. But a narcissist is gonna be a narcissist and ain't no changing them. You feel me? And they have a stifled mindset. They can't get past a certain mindset. But I watch myself break away and do things that my homies, who are now approaching their 30s, they didn't have the strength to do. They didn't have the strength to do what I did. A lot of the things that I've accomplished in life, they didn't have the strength to do. You know what I'm saying? They didn't grow up in the circumstances that I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? And you can see that now because they still have a certain salt. They're not grounded in their masculinity. They're very passive. They're not direct, and they don't approach life face forward. But so, with that song by Omarion, man, it's semen retention was something that I became aware of because I knew that it was a part of my journey in terms of me healing and me getting to the next level. You feel me? Me elevating my mind and becoming more of a leader, because as a child, I was already somebody that challenged the norm, you know what I'm saying, and wanted to go my own way, and even when I was in the set, I didn't let nobody dictate me or tell me what to do, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you gonna have to take my black flag, you gonna have to fight me, take my black flag from me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a spiritual reflection of me, but listening to Omarion's Unbothered is like, and one of the things he said, he was like, don't come back now. Because that's one of the things, when you start disassociating yourself from people that you realize don't have any value, because my ex, she didn't really have anything to offer me. She didn't have anything to give me. As I studied and spent more time to myself and started just going out and and doing my own thing and being who I was prior to, you know what I'm saying? Like that person was still there, but he was having to grow through something. Me spending my time and hanging out with different women, I realized how many more different types of women there were out there and how I was settling. And I look at my homies who I'm pretty much distancing myself from this point forward. I recognize how it's like y'all chose to procreate with women that really are not in the best interest of you and even in your purpose. Don't even really reflect you and your highest values and your highest standards. You know what I'm saying? And y'all really need to look at yourselves, because I looked at myself and the type of woman that I chose, and I realized that I was settling for something that was not even reflective of my value and my higher self. You know what I'm saying? She didn't contribute anything to my spiritual evolution as a man. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't teaching me how to cultivate my seed. She wasn't trying to be a part of what I was trying to build and create. She wasn't using her divine femininity to guide me as a man in a way where I could be more in my masculine frame. I could be more of who I am. She wasn't teaching me about my emotional depth and my own femininity. You know what I'm saying? And then when you get to a point when you got to recognize some of these breakups happen and they meant to happen. Like, you shouldn't be so quick to try, I want her back, I need her, she's the love of my life. It's like, no, you need to be the love of your life. Your life and your soul should be put first and foremost, because nobody can save you. Nobody can save you. Your wife, your woman, they cannot save you from yourself. You got to face yourself. It's nobody else's responsibility. And when you implement semen retention, and like I said, You start putting your energy towards your self-development and your elevation. And you will get to a point where you unbothered, where you won't tolerate, when you look at all of your relationships and you really see who's of value, who's trying to help you be a better person, who is trying to challenge you, who is trying to, help you gain knowledge and push you to be your best self. Because I got few homies and I shout them out because they out here doing big things. But when I looked, I was always my own motivation. I was always my own motivation. My homies be like, man, yeah, man, do that, yeah, do that. That's a good idea, man. Get out of here with that shit. But when I challenge you to do something that's out of your comfort zone, you come up with excuses and reasons and you backpedal, you know. So stay on, look at all of your relationships, man. And stop fucking with people that don't really have your best interests, are not really supportive, or not active, and really letting you know where they stand and that they love you and that they care about you, and that they have a genuine interest in what you are trying to do with your life and what you want to accomplish, and if they can be of service to you, and if you have any resources that you can give to them, they can what can you do to help them too? Don't go out of your way to help anybody that doesn't want to be helped. Don't do it. Look at those people that you can give back to and that you can assist. And you know that it's your place, it's in your path and your journey to assist them in their endeavors. So keep practicing semen retention. Get to that point, to that place where you can go within and you can really be attuned with your purpose. And you can be confident in moving forward with that. And be confident in all of your decisions that you make. And not be so caught up in the outcome, but knowing that you're doing what you have to do as a man, because you are in tune with your soul. And you are honoring yourself. Love yourself, bro.